if summer's slow, prepare. If summer is busy, optimize. If summer is stable, improve.
Right.
There's the work through here. The businesses that win, aren't the ones that always have perfect conditions. They're the ones that make the most of the conditions they have.
Yesterday's price is not today's price.
I know that's right. Summer is also the perfect time to strengthen your 5 pillars. Get a new book if you don't have it. Get positioned for growth. Amazon will have it to you next day, baby. It's print on demand.
That's right.
They have it to you.
I encourage people that if you're going through this margin exercise,
Yep.
we recently had an episode about margins and profitability. So go back and listen to that and look for some ideas about how to assess that.
And you better believe it.
Perfect.
This is the Grow
Like we
Business
recently
Podcast
posted
with Corey
episode
Mosley.
110.
Oh, was that it?
Yeah.
Okay, good. How about that? I mean, once to go to 100. I mean, I'm not famous yet.
Right.
Although I do have to shout out, we were at a lunch spot. We're at breakfast. We were having breakfast.
Okay.
And the waitress is like, oh, I tell people I know you all the time. I'm like, okay. She's like, oh yeah, well I see all your stuff. I see all the shows and TikTok and everything. So it's like, oh, and now you're like here having breakfast.
Oh, how
so
cool
I'm like,
is that?
okay, that's kind of cool. I mean,
That is fun.
I don't know if that pays, but I don't know what you can buy. I said I got some books in the car. You got 20 on it or what?
Exactly.
I can't, live on compliments. So sometimes you need a little bit more than that. But I lost. I was going to ask you. I was going to say, what episode are we up to now?
Yeah.
But,
I was looking at something and
yeah.
I was like, oh, 110.
yeah,
All right,
there it
how
is.
about
Now
that?
it's all a blur now.
Right.
Right. The march to now you got to set a new goal because we were supposed to be famous over 100.
Like instantly.
The fame is not raining down. You are. Who's that guy again?
Right. That's exactly
Like people are like, oh yeah, you guys are good together. What's that guy's name? What is his name? So yeah, but you're making progress.
Right. like
you're in the marquee now.
I'm
so that's
recognized, not remembered,
yeah,
right?
yeah. You and the other guy.
Right.
So that's good. That's good. Progress, not perfection, as they say.
100%.
Well, folks,
Thank you.
you have come to the right destination. This is the Grow Business Podcast. This is a place where, we put it in the name. We want to help you grow your business. If you are an entrepreneur, small business owner, leading a team, you're in the C-suite, and you have control over growth inside your company, this is the destination for you. I'm your host, Corey Mosley, joined by the illustrious, magnanimous brother from another mother. You might be old enough to be my daddy. Lon Graham, LG007 is here.
Voice of reason.
It's good to be here, Corey.
My daddy brother from my daddy from another from another marriage. And he's here as usual behind the scenes. Willie H is here.
Hit the buttons, William.
See how he does today. As we barrel into summer.
Yeah.
We barrel into summer. Now, folks, if you're just joining us, you may not know this, but we base our show around our 5 principles of business growth: mindset, sales, marketing, operations, and people. See, I took the pressure off of you today.
Thank you.
Out the door.
You know
I see
what?
you didn't even have your sticky.
You know what?
You didn't even have your sticky there. So
and I'm missing the highlighter and everything.
Yeah, usually needs a sticky there to glance at it. I don't know. Should know this stuff by now. But
Well, I would have been able to pull it off.
okay. All right, good.
The
I
big
took it
thing-
out of your hands.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
We want to stay upbeat. So I don't want to be disappointed. But no, I know you know it by now. And we believe every business growth challenge can be overcome within one of those 5 pillars. It's just a matter of identifying, isolate, and attacking.
Yes.
I talk more on this in my latest book, Position for Growth, available online. If you don't have a copy, you should get a copy. He's doing very well. Got some UK royalty checks.
There you
go. Which was a pleasant surprise.
Congratulations.
Big in the UK. I might have to go over there.
Now, do they pay in euros or pounds or
No,
U.S.
it's
dollars?
translated in the
Oh,
US
it's converted.
dollar.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
I mean, the ACH is in U.S. dollars. So
There you go.
I don't.
Okay.
the queen is not on the coin when it goes in my account. So I had a Starbucks today with that royalty check.
There you go.
But so I am thankful for that, for my UK royalties.
Well, with what you're drinking, sometimes you got to take out a loan to get that
Oh,
drink.
wow. Yeah. It's just a latte. What are you talking about? Said the guy with the whiskey collection over here.
Oh, well.
The
called
James,
brown-
whatever, Macallan
brown
25 or whatever you got over there. Well, folks, we talked about it. We're entering the summer months now.
Mm-hmm.
So today we're going to talk about this idea. Are you a summer slowdown or a summer surge? So we want to help you win either way. That's the good news, right? Because many business owners, many times spend the summer complaining
Right.
that business is slow,
Right.
while others become overwhelmed because business is booming. So the truth is that both situations create opportunities. The businesses that win are the ones that intentionally adjust their strategy to fit the season instead of fighting it.
Yeah.
And that's what we want to talk about today.
Well, I think, Corey, what you may have just done is come up with something unintentionally. So the person who's not, spends the whole summer complaining is a summer slummer. There you go.
A summer slummer.
There you go.
Hey, okay, look
I
at
like
you.
that.
You found something.
Yeah, I like
File
that.
away with the water in
Yeah.
the pond, and the pond in the water. Did you make that up on the spot? Whoa. Whoa, I don't know what happened there. Got a little technical difficulty. Do we need to get that adjusted? Did you make that up on the spot? Oh, okay. That sounds a lot better.
Did you make that up?
Did you
on
make
the
it up
spot?
on the spot?
Absolutely.
Yes. Willie H said he had a few new ones that
Good.
he was going to trot out here, before we head off.
That's a good one. I like that one. Yeah.
But yeah, so I think whether your phones are ringing off the hook or you're wondering where everybody went,
Right.
There are strategies that will help you come out of summer stronger. And we kind of always, I think we've started a tradition here. Kind of, as we go on a little summer break, while we recharge, we always like to leave everybody,
Right.
with something that's actionable here
Indeed.
around the idea that we're in. So I think I want to start with the idea, LG, of, let's identify first which summer business you are,
Yeah. Okay.
right? So, because the first mistake can be, failing to accurately diagnose your situation.
Correct.
So, and realistically, I want to talk about like three types.
Okay.
So type one is the summer slowdown business.
Okay.
Right. So sometimes this happens in B2B services,
Right.
professional services, consulting, corporate work, because you have that vacation season, right?
Right.
Kids are out. This is happening. So you know what? Some of these things we were going to do, some of these projects we're going to put off. We got vacations. We got dollars going out the
Right.
window for all of those things. And even certain manufacturing segments, taper down,
Yeah.
during those times.
Correct.
Two, we've got. I'll do the three, and then I want to hear what you got to say.
Sure.
And then type two are the summer surge businesses.
Okay.
Right. So particularly in your resort, right, the people benefit from the vacations and the
Right.
things that they're not doing because they're coming to the vacation towns.
Right.
So you've got inside like the Pecan Jacks ecosystem, the next 100 days is just going to be stupid.
Sure.
But it might be crickets come, the certain period.
Right.
So you've got the summer surge. So that's your restaurants, that's
Right.
hospitality, that's travel, that's the attractions, the amusement parks,
Right.
seasonal retail, things that run specifically on that, and even home services. Right now, need to get the new deck done. Now's the time
Right.
to enjoy the pool. We got the pool ramping up, so that's like Super Bowl time,
Right.
for them, I think. And then three is just like stable businesses. Essential services, healthcare, repair businesses,
Right.
and things that may be on a reoccurring revenue model anyway
Right.
that aren't really affected by it.
Yeah, and I mean, I think those are three, clearly identifiable lanes, right? You've got the slowdown, and we'll talk about this, but is it a slowdown because it's seasonal, or is it a slowdown because you use the season
The
to slow down?
self-inflicted wound.
Exactly, right. Certainly, surge businesses. I mean, I've got clients in my job down in Virginia Beach and Tidewater in that area, and I can assure you that bridge tunnel is different now.
For sure.
It's certainly different in the summer season than it is in January and February.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're right. There's businesses that do a really good job of maintaining consistency, and it'll be fun to talk about all three of those areas.
Yeah, I mean, I think the point you're talking about is, hey, is your slowdown real?
Right.
Or is it perceived? Right.
Correct.
If you fall into that, is your surge profitable?
Right.
Or creating chaos?
Right.
Right? Does it match up in terms of the type of business you are? Because I think there are some businesses that, yes, genuinely need more customers.
Right.
But there are other businesses that simply need better systems.
Right.
Right. So, question, where are you? What do you fall into?
Correct.
And I think that's an important thing to consider in the grand scheme of things. Right.
Yeah, it's a good time for us to talk about it as we go into this surge or slowdown season. So that's great.
So I think let's look at this. Let's go slow first.
Okay.
I think let's look at that. If your business is slow,
Okay.
or maybe historically,
Right.
right? So, most of our listeners are in business already, not necessarily in startup mode. So
Right.
we've got, people that have been in business for 20 years, 10 years, 5 years. So they they should have some benchmarking or some expectation, right?
Correct.
Now, the fundamental thing here could be is how some of the things we're going to talk about may affect how they've traditionally approached it. And if we have an opportunity to make some change in there. So, because this is a lot of times with slow and that perception where business owners make emotional decisions.
Right.
Right.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's
panic, like that kind of thing.
Right.
So,
it shows up, and we'll talk about this. It shows up in a number of ways. It shows up in profitability throughout the year. It shows up in hiring practices. Like, are you hiring and letting go, and are you preparing for spikes? And so, I mean, some of the seasonal businesses, we'll talk about that. But it's a lot of this is what are you doing, and how are you planning for it?
Yeah, no, 100%. So, okay, let's look at this. If business is slow,
Okay.
don't panic, prepare.
There you go. I like it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, like, step one, right? When business slows down, people will, slash prices, they'll cut marketing, they'll retreat. And the funny thing is that's often the exact opposite of what you should be doing.
Right.
So what are some smart moves during slow periods? Number one, great opportunity to modernize that marketing.
Yeah.
I don't like to let too many episodes go by without talking about updating that website.
Correct.
Refreshing that social media.
Correct.
Creating some new content. I'm working on your SEO. There's so many advances now in terms of how this is getting done, the technology that's available, the people that are available, the AI, as we've done multiple episodes on that, that can allow this to turnkey, really solve your problems, analyze, and correct.
Right. Yeah. There's always a good time to modernize the message and modernize the your update your website and marketing. The reality of it, though, is instead of, like you said, instead of panicking, look at what's been working for you.
Yes.
And look at what hasn't been. And we've talked about this in different formats in a number of episodes. Sometimes what you have to do is you have to reduce what's not working for you so that you can do more of what is.
Yes. Simplify to multiply.
Correct.
Bingo. Yeah, I like that. Okay. Modernize marketing 2.
Okay.
Reconnect with past customers.
Oh, yeah.
So this is a great time for check-in calls, great time for re-engagement campaigns, great time for loyalty offers.
That last one I like a lot is past customers rebuilding loyalty.
Yes.
And hey, we're making an offer, or we're initiating, we want an opportunity for you to come back and do business with us. Here's what's going on with us. Where are you? Can we put something together for you?
I had a store. There's a store that I hadn't been in since pandemic.
Okay.
I hadn't been in there.
Okay.
And just like my taste change, clothing store. So
Right.
some of my taste changed, some of, just different things.
Sure.
And they sent me a postcard
Oh, nice.
that was 40% off, no exclusions.
Wow.
And it had a time window.
Okay.
I went into the store
Right.
and transacted business.
Good for you.
And I had no plan, but I can't resist 40% off.
Right.
Right, 40% off. I mean, that's all. 40 is almost 50, but 40% off, particularly at this particular store's price point,
Right.
is very valuable.
Sure.
So where I would not have thought about it or considered it before, after 6 years, I mean, somebody in that marketing department said we at least take a run at it.
Right.
So if we can reevaluate, now I'm back on the list. Now I don't know how much business I'm going to be barreling to do there.
Right.
But I did go in and take advantage of it. So they did get a sale. That mailer worked.
Correct.
I.e., so for all my people who poo-poo direct mail.
Right.
Oh, that stuff just goes straight in the trash. The only direct mail that goes straight in the trash is the direct mail that people aren't interested in.
Right.
I look at every piece, which is a whole nother episode, but
Right.
It's just a rant moment for me. I look at every piece of mail that comes into my mailbox.
Right.
So I think it's such a dumb statement about direct mail doesn't work or people don't need direct mail. If it's not relevant to me, yes, I don't need, I don't need lawn care.
Right.
Right, I live in a planned community,
Right.
and that's included in my fees. So I don't need lawn care. So yes, if you send me a direct mail piece
Right.
to our planned community
Right.
about lawn care, then that's going in the trash. But I looked at it.
Right.
I looked at it and determined it wasn't for me.
Right.
So that direct mail piece coming in, I looked at it and said, oh, 40% off.
Right.
Let me put that to the side there and make sure, and then look at the time. Oh, okay, great. I got there like a day before it expired.
Right. So I think you're making a great point, and we'll tie it all together this way. This is a great opportunity to look at your marketing. If direct mail is not working, look at where you're sending it. So if you're using direct mail and you're not getting the responses that you want, are you a lawn care business sending it to the people that live in that community,
Right,
or are you
right.
sending it to the homeowners association?
right.
Where is that direct mail going?
And what is the offer?
Correct.
Right? Is the offer compelling?
Right.
Oh, spend 20, get a free rinky dink. I don't know that that's moving the needle for me.
Well, in that 40% offer in that retail store, let's say 10 people, we'll do some quick math. Let's say 10 people come.
Right.
There's a minimal profit built into that. It may
Right.
be net neutral for 10 people to come in. If all 10 people come in, they're likely going to buy. 7 of them are going to buy.
Right.
2 of them are going to come back later. So
Right.
you've just increased. And that's a direct market to people who've already purchased
And you
from there.
you've reactivated.
Correct.
Right. So they got zero revenue from me from 6 years. So they didn't say, by not sending me a discount offer, they didn't help themselves.
Right.
So, and you and I both know they're still making money at 40% off.
100%.
Right. So, folks, I mean, it's just making the point, right? I would call that's a loyalty offer in my mind, right? Because that
100%.
mailer only went out to people. There was a criteria: who has not transacted business within X.
Correct.
So whatever X was, whether X was a year, whether it was 5 years, or whether it was my thing, 6. You know, who has not been in 5 or 6 years, whatever that criteria worked.
Right.
So they're taking action, right? So if there was a slow period, or they want to boost those things, or want to know why people are coming back. Now, had that been a 10% offer, it would have gone in the trash.
Correct.
So it was the offer, and it resonated with me. I needed there were a few things that I thought I should get, not that I needed for my survival, but this made it more palatable for my brain to go, oh, well, you're getting it 40% off.
100%.
All right. Number 2.
Yep.
Oh, I'm sorry. We're on 3. Number 3, great opportunity to train your team. It's a great opportunity for sales training. Great opportunity for customer service training. Great opportunity for process improvement. Because these are the situations. Again, if you're on that slower side, every customer or prospect matters even more than normal. So, people are quick to use the excuse, we're so busy, we haven't had an opportunity to train, and we haven't had an opportunity to do this or that. Well, this is the opportunity to make that investment. Now, you've got to be of that mindset, right? This is pillar 1. You've got to be of the mindset to engage in process improvement, not just fall into the complacency of, oh, Corey been doing this for 20 years and this way it's been working.
Right.
Because, man, this stuff changes. I'm seeing, I advise an AI company, and when I'm on their calls with the tech team, because they've hired away people from OpenAI, they've hired away people from Meta's AI team. Like that's the top of the spear. This is the brain power that we've got over at this company. And when I'm sitting on these calls and they're showing the latest advancement in voice, and I mean, it's stellar.
That's fantastic.
It's stellar.
Right.
Can you imagine like going to the website, having the website identify you, and then having that fire off to a campaign? Can you imagine being on a website, surfing right now, looking around stuff, and the phone rings, and it's an AI agent that's identified you from the website, was able to reverse IP, identify you and your demo, call you, and engage you right on the spot while you were looking for something?
That's fantastic. That's amazing.
I mean, that is just stupid.
Well, let's go back to what you just said, though. Right? We've been doing it for 20 years. We've been doing it for 10 years, and we know what we're doing. Well, we're talking about the people that have slowdowns in the summer, and if you've had slowdowns in the summer for 20 years and you haven't done anything about it, shame on you.
Right.
So that's why we're talking about this. And and you talk about, I'll go back to the training piece. What a great opportunity to have some of your frontline people, when you're slowed down, have some of your frontline people go through the customer experience.
Right.
Say, pick some of your frontline people and say, hey, go through this and give us some perspective on on how we're doing.
Yeah, there's a company now. I thought it was interesting. I've been seeing ads for them for a while. I'm trying to remember what it's called. I think it's called Ugly Baby. But what they do is they have people who will go on your website and tell you all the things that's wrong with it from the consumer user experience.
Okay.
Sure. Right. So they deploy whoever that goes on and goes through the experience, and they heat map it and record it, and they, just show you where your conversions could be improved, and like it's Ugly Baby. So, I mean, like, and it's not expensive.
Okay.
Because they're paying, the people, it's a volume play for, it's, probably overseas or whatever. But what a great time to get that audit done, to have somebody take a look at that, to be prepared if you've got your high season, or so to speak, coming up, to do that. So number 4, we've talked about it from a marketing perspective. We talked about it from a people perspective, right? But we go back to the 5 pillars, right? So now also a great opportunity to review financials. What are the expenses? Are your profit margins in line? Because you're not only just talking about summer, you're talking about mid-year.
Yeah.
So great opportunity. Have expenses got out of control? Were there some things you've taken on? Were some things that you said let's give it 90 days, let's give it some time, that now is reaching that point? From an expenses standpoint, from a profit standpoint, from a margin standpoint, are margins holding?
Right.
Is your pricing strategy holding based on different things that the market may be doing? Right now, cost of goods going up.
Correct.
You held out. You didn't want to do price increases. Even though your costs have gone up, you were hoping to see maybe it come back down so you don't have to rock the boat with your customers. Maybe you're reassessing that, hey, time to do a little rocking for your own, company's financial health.
And you better believe it.
And margins are so important, because the margins in the peak season help you sustain the slow season, if it's legitimately a slow season.
You're squirreling away and hibernating.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and I encourage people that if you're going through this margin exercise, we recently had an episode about margins and profitability. So go back and listen to that and look for some ideas about how to assess that.
And you better believe it.
Perfect.
Maybe this guy can help me.
Yes, longraham.com. Maybe he can help you.
Yes,
you need to check him out, learn some more information about what he's doing with sales leaders.
Thank you.
Right now. Okay. 5, build a pipeline.
Yeah.
Great opportunity for prospecting, great opportunity for networking, great opportunity for partnerships. A lot of events are happening, throughout the summer. And those events, could be themed socially, but create the networking opportunity.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, because, the people still, you know, the people that you could do business with are still people.
Right.
So they're still at farmers markets. They're still at you know, fairs and events, wine festivals. Those people are still there. That could create networking opportunities. You never know who you're sitting next to.
Right. And you look at these, you know, these summer pool parties or, you know, events around an amusement park or the pool. You know, we were just recently talking about these convention centers that have water parks.
Yep.
Can you create a promotional experience there? Take this and have it at home, right?
Sure.
You know, if you're a pool company or if you're a pool cleaner or, you know, these things that take this and have it at home so that you can create these opportunities for the future.
Right. And even if you are under the constraints that, again, summer is not a booming whatever for you for that reason, you know, the truth is, though, the businesses that grow in the fall often spent the summer preparing for it.
Oh, my gosh.
You know?
Yeah.
So it's that piece. So if it's slow, and the message is don't waste a slowdown. Use it.
Yeah, maximize it. Yeah,
exactly. Maximize it. You know, and I think one of those things to take in mind and keep in mind is what you're doing visibility-wise when it comes to authority.
Sure.
Right? And particularly you fall into one of those categories that we were talking about, like professional services or something that involves you being the brand there. How your authority shows up is very, very important. And I think, LG, you've got something to say about that.
I absolutely do, Corey, because what you're saying is real. What you're saying about authority is real. And right now, people are deciding if they trust you before they ever reach out. And if you don't look like the authority, you don't even get the opportunity. And that's exactly why we created Obvious Choice Interview. It's a professionally produced TV-style interview that showcases your expertise, your story, and how you help your clients. So when prospects find you, you're not just another option, you're the obvious choice. You can use it on your website, social media, in your sales process, anywhere trust matters. If you want to see what it looks like and how it works, just head over to obviouschoiceinterview.com.
Boom.
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 Well,
exactly.
And what you're saying, Corey, is this is the perfect time to do those things so that they're active when season picks up. So when people are making decisions to do business again, you're already
You may
in the
not
market.
fundamentally be able to just change the market if
Right.
you're just in a business that's dead.
Correct.
Historically. But you can't. There are things that you can do,
Right.
to drive, and that's what we're talking about here on that side of it. So now, if business is booming, we talked about this in the previous episode. Don't confuse busy with success.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So, because I think this is a place where people get fooled, right? Just because you're busy doesn't mean you're growing. We did a whole episode on that.
Right.
You know, and what you're looking for though is the warning signs. I'm going to talk a little bit about that. You know, employees are overwhelmed. Customer complaints are increasing.
Right.
You know, big sign. Margins are shrinking. Maybe as an owner, you're now cranking out 80-hour weeks.
Right.
Which again, unless you've designed it that way, meaning, Corey, I'd rather just keep the extra money. Yes, I could hire another person, but I'd rather just keep that money for me.
Right.
Right. And you know, and not, I'm missing soccer games or maybe I'm missing these things, but I don't know. So to each his own.
Correct.
Right. So we don't judge here. In the words of Gordon Gekko, you die your way, I'll die mine. Right. In Wall Street too. Yeah. But owners are working 80 hours a week. That may be a problem for a lot of people. Your systems are breaking, or you're seeing the cracks. They're not passing the stress tests based on that. You know, because the funny part is, LG, many businesses experience revenue growth, but profit decline.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm going to go back to, you know, if you make the choice to work 80 hours a week, we're not judging whether you do or not.
Right.
That's your choice. If we're talking about ways to get better, though, then look at what you're doing in those 80-hour weeks. are you doing the things that you're uniquely qualified to do to lead that business?
Right.
Or are you doing day-to-day activities that sometimes you got to pitch in 100%. Sometimes you got to be, especially in retail markets and, like you talk about pecan jacks,
Right.
that's an all hands on deck, 100%.
Sure.
But make sure that you're maximizing what you're uniquely qualified to do for that business so that the business can be most effective.
Voice of reason.
There you go. You got your official voice of reason.
All right.
And again, this comes down to questions, right? We want you to walk away with questions, right? Are we profitable?
Right.
Are we delivering a great experience?
Right.
Can our systems handle our growth? Are we creating repeat customers?
Right.
Right. These are just, listen, stop, rewind, drag it back if you're on YouTube, drag it back on iTunes. And, take a look at that piece. I mean, listen, revenue is exciting.
Right.
Profit is required
Yeah.
in that equation.
Get
Right?
us Corey Mosley.
Yeah,
right.
there you go. Because, if you want one more, I'm on a roll today.
Yeah.
Busy is not a business strategy.
Oh,
Yeah, I like that.
yeah, exactly.
So,
Exactly.
Summer is also the perfect time to strengthen your 5 pillars. Get a new book if you don't have it. Get positioned for growth. Amazon will have it to you next day, baby. It's print on demand.
That's right.
They have it to you. Because regardless of whether your business is up or down, summer is the opportunity to strengthen the 5 pillars that support business growth.
Right.
So if we let's break that down for a minute. Mindset.
Yeah.
Let's go. We're gonna go just right through them.
Yeah, let's do it.
Avoid emotional reactions
Yeah. because
that's so easy.
Right.
Right. And it's not about passing judgment. We're all guilty of it. Like somebody gets you hot in a situation. I had a prospect say something stone dumb on the phone. Thank God it wasn't a Zoom.
Right.
Because, I tell everybody that knows me knows I don't play poker.
Right.
Because I'd be terrible at whatever I'm thinking is generally
Correct.
on my face. So
Right.
I'd have all the tells. I wouldn't, if I had a hot hand, like it'd be just, I'd be the worst. I'd have to have a face mask on to play. Like some Kanye West Maison Margiela face mask where
there
you
you
couldn't
go.
see anything.
Sure.
So avoid emotional reactions. Also stay focused on long-term goals
Right.
from a mindset level, right? Don't let the short-term situation, the daily, weekly, or even monthly situation derail you from those goals.
Here's why, and I talk to sales leaders about this all the time. If you don't clearly define success, then you don't know where you're going. And if you don't know where you're going nowhere. The reason that's so important is the way you define success becomes the filter through which you run all decisions. And so when things start to get busy, are we doing things that get us closer to success in the way that we define it? And if you use that for everything, so you talk about you're doing something, you got an employee that's frustrated because a customer's experience is frustrating. Run it through your success. How do you define success? And how we're engaging with this client or this customer? Is that getting us closer to the way we define it, or is this just a customer that's shouldn't really be a part of our business plan? So you've got to figure that out, though. And so when you talk about mindset, understand clearly what you're trying to accomplish, so that everything you do, you can run through that filter, and that makes it so much easier to make decisions about what matters and what doesn't.
This might be a guy I want to work with.
I like it. On the money, honey, as they say. All right. Now, so next up, pillar-wise, is what's the second pillar?
Oh, in sales.
Yeah, okay. All right, there you go. Ooh. All right.
Well, I had to figure out where we were in the lineup.
All right, so sales, right?
Right.
I mean, again, I want to be redundant to drive it home.
Correct.
So improve sales process. I guarantee you there's something that can be tweaked. There's something that from a technique standpoint, or even how you're communicating, right? From a modality standpoint, are you using voice agents in your sales process? Is there an opportunity to look at your automations or your follow-up? Those type of things become critical. And with follow-up comes the discipline of that. Have you been lackluster because you were hot all season before in derelict? So I should say in your follow-up. And the last one is great time to look at conversion rates. and see if those are holding up.
All of that is good. And one other thing I'll talk about, because my career has been in outside sales and working with outside sales teams. There is a great opportunity if you have outside sales teams, or if you're doing outbound calls, if you're in call centers or phone outbound sales, there's a great opportunity to close the gap between some of your frontline people and get them to spend time with the salespeople. So either go out on sales calls, go out and does two things for you. One, it gives the people that are frontline taking some of the client experience and responsible for some of the client experience, understanding the sales process and understanding the engagement with clients in person. And if you're doing outbound sales calls, have your inbound team or have your client services team sit on some of those sales calls to understand that interaction and understand what salespeople deal with and go through. And then the client services team can do like a debrief. These are things that don't make sense for us. These are things that tell me about how you're dealing with these clients differently. But this slowdown time is a great opportunity to close the gap between what client experience understands and what sales understands. And you can use that opportunity to learn more and to get them closer together and work more tightly together.
Yeah, I like that. Enough said. Enough said. All right, number 3, marketing. So here, simple, right? 2 things. Evaluate what is working.
Correct.
Come here. Stop what isn't. Mic drop.
Perfect.
That's it. I ain't gonna go any deeper to that.
Yeah.
Evaluate what is working. Stop what isn't.
Perfect.
Operations. Improve systems. Eliminate bottlenecks.
Yep.
Like we don't want to send you into the summer with complexity.
Right.
People. LG, your hot button area. Develop leaders.
Yeah.
Improve accountability, and address team issues.
Yeah.
Boom. Growth happens.
Church.
I was waiting for something. There we go.
There
Yeah.
you go.
Yeah.
Growth happens when you strengthen the foundation, not just when you increase activity.
Right. Right. And what a great opportunity. If you're in a slowdown, you talk about the people side of it. What a great opportunity to give people or give them a task, but say, here's what we want to accomplish. How would you get there from where we are to get there? And some of these things we talk about bottlenecks and we talk about processes. Use people that are not used, but develop people in your organization to help identify some of those things and come up with solutions.
Right.
You get to decide whether you implement it or not, but at least give them the opportunity to come up with some of these things and figure out what makes sense and what doesn't. And the people in your team, on your team, become more invested in your organization because you've done that.
Voice of reason.
Well, Willie H. made a verbal. I think he didn't realize he verbally said something. He nodded his head and said yes, but that nobody can hear that. So he's like, "Oh, I guess I was supposed to push the button." He was with you though. He was with you. All right, number 5.
Yeah.
Use summer to build momentum for the second half of the year.
Yeah, for sure.
Right. So because before you know it, right, Labor Day's here, and then then we start going, where did the year go?
Right.
Where did the year go? So, what must happen by December 31st for you? What opportunities are sitting untouched right now? What projects need to be completed?
Right.
What relationships need attention?
Right. This is the perfect time to get to know people you want to do business with. So when it's time for them to make a decision about who to do business with, they already know you.
Yeah.
If you're waiting till somebody needs something to get to know them, it's too late. Because they're not. We've had conversations in previous episodes about trust, about the trust gap. We've had conversations in previous episodes about preparing people to know you. We talk about the obvious choice interview multiple times.
Right.
This is a great opportunity to give people a chance to know you and you get to know them. So when they make a decision, because this obvious choice interview that we talk about and you talk about websites and we talk about doing all these updates, people are making decisions to buy from you when you're not around. So they need something to know about you when they make that decision.
Woo.
When the church say amen.
Oh, you got one of those too?
Yeah.
Well, I damn sure better get a voice of reason before I end today, since he's giving you my stuff too. This is we're not going into summer break. On that note,
lopsided, right?
You know. So listen. Here's the challenge to you, right? And this is a before the end of summer challenge, right?
Correct.
What's one thing you can start?
Right.
What's one thing you can stop?
Perfect.
And what's one thing you can improve?
Yeah.
Right.
Perfect.
You know, because here's what I know: successful business owners don't wait for momentum; they create it.
Right.
And there's a distinction there.
100%.
So, you know, if summer's slow, prepare. If summer is busy, optimize. If summer is stable, improve.
Right.
Right? There's the work through here. The businesses that win, you know, aren't the ones that always have perfect conditions. They're the ones that make the most of the conditions they have.
Yesterday's price is not today's price.
I know that's right.
Yeah.
I know that's right.
You know, we you know, our country grew up as an agricultural society, and I think we can learn a lot from that in business. When it's slow, plant your seeds, water and fertilize them, so that when the season is right, you can harvest. But if you don't plant your seeds when it's slow and you're watering and fertilizing those seeds, there is no harvest. And I think that's what we're talking about here.
There you go. You know, summer isn't happening to your business. Summer is giving your business an opportunity. The question is whether you will use it.
Right.
Bingo!
Yeah, you got that one.
Yeah, I think we're going to leave it there.
Perfect.
I think there's an actionable plan here and some actionable steps that we want to encourage people to take and go after it.
Yeah.
As they do summer. Now, I'm going to try to put my feet in the pool. No, I'm going to follow our own advice. So there's certainly a lot of things going to be happening over the summer for both of us. So, I'm going to give you the pretend last word. Yeah, the penultimate.
The penultimate.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming. Thanks for coming back. And next time, bring a friend.
That's right, folks. This has been another edition of the Grow Business Podcast. As always, thanks for coming. Share it with other people. Share, like, follow. YouTube has been doing well. If you're not, you know, we love to have you on iTunes and love to have you on Google Play. But, you know, we dress up for you here. We could just do this in the closet if we were just going to do that. So we're streaming video on Spotify and, of course, on YouTube. You can also visit CoreyMosley.com. Check it out there, as well as some other resources. Also visit LonGraham.com to learn more about what LG is doing. And ObviousSChoiceInterview.com if you want to build your authority. Just imagine yourself, we'll throw Lon out for the day and put you in that chair so we can help you build your authority and credibility in the marketplace. Correct. I'm Corey Mosley. On behalf of LG, Lon Graham, LG 007, that is, Lon Graham, and Willie H., thanks for coming. We will see you next time on the Grow Business Podcast. Willie H. All right, he's ahead of me. Take us out.
If you stay in the same pool, you get the same water.
That's great.
That's perfect.
We needed that.
As we go into the summer.
We needed that today.
Right.
We needed that one. You stay in the same pool. Was that poignant? I think I'm putting that on I'm putting that on a T-shirt.
You stay in the same pool.
I used to have a guy who worked for me. He used to say, "Don't be ridiculous." So I had it put on I had his face put on a T-shirt.
Oh,
and say,
fun.
"Don't be ridiculous" on it.
Fun.
So we might have to get if you stay in the same pool, it's the same water.
You get the same water.
Merch. We're doing merch later this year. We're gonna do some merch. Give some people an opportunity to support the podcast with some Grow Business merch.
Right.
I love it.
Stay in the same pool.
Yes.
On the back. You
same water. Yeah, that's it. We'll work on that.
Absolutely.
Great job. Great job.
Appreciate it. That's awesome. Thank you.
All right.